Survive nature's most devastating catastrophes and Disaster, Day of Crisis, a panic-inducing survival game for Wii. In a devastatingly short period of time, an unprecedented wave of natural disasters has pummeled the United States. On top of this inexplicable series of disasters, a rogue special forces unit has taken advantage of the chaos and seized a nuclear weapon. Only Ray, a former member of an elite rescue task force, has decided to take a stand.
Hello, welcome to another episode of XenoChat. I am one of the hosts, Tyler, and as you just heard, here is Justin.
What's up, everybody?
And we got one other guest with us today, and that is Nick.
Hey, nice Nintendo Direct ad read.
Yeah, even though I stumbled in the middle of it, but it's
that
okay.
could have been like the official in the Nintendo Direct. What if they remastered the game and brought it to the States, and it just I could just imagine that voice reading it out over. And feel free to edit this idea out and put it in the podcast later. Just go ahead and play the little Nintendo Direct sound at the start, whenever it transitions games, and then have it go into that with some light disaster music behind Justin saying that part at the start. Golden. That would be incredible. I think that would be perfect editing. I know that's adding a little bit more, but I will help if you want.
I appreciate it. But yeah, we have a really special episode today because for once we're not talking about Xeno. This isn't an April Fool's episode. We're actually gonna kind of go into, a series of other games made by Monolith Soft. So in that game today is Disaster, Day of Crisis.
Yeah. So we've been talking about covering other Monolith Soft games for a while, and if you guys want to see us cover Monolith Soft games or have a certain game that you want us to cover, definitely let us know, because we will probably consider it. Disaster Day of Crisis is one that has been on my mind a lot lately, as some of you already know. We'll get into that in a second, but yeah, it's been on my mind a lot, and I've been kind of becoming low-key obsessed with it. So I just finished streaming it the other day, and I want to talk about it.
Justin, not to date ourselves too much, but seeing as this is mid-February, I'd say this is perfect timing because this game starts out with a bit of a romance of sorts. I feel like. Yeah. A bromance, you might say.
Yeah, that ends very tragically, unfortunately.
Yes. Fortunately. There will be spoilers on this episode, by the way, of course.
There'll probably be some light spoilers. I mean, the story is fairly light in this game, but it's a lot of fun. I personally really enjoyed my playthrough of it, and I figured this is a game that a lot of people in North America kind of don't really know about. There are a couple videos of it on YouTube, and I do recommend checking some of those out. And I am going to be sourcing some information I heard from some of those videos and some of those other news articles, because there's actually a lot of coverage for Disaster back in the day, even from North American outlets, which is interesting.
We're also going to cite them to tell them where they're wrong.
Yeah, right.
But it was really fun watching you stream it, because it definitely it's a product of its time, but it's like a cross between Time Crisis and Disaster Report, and it's really unique experience.
I did not expect it. I had seen some stuff before. I didn't expect how much of it was going to be Time Crisis.
Oh, neither did I.
Complete with the lean out mechanics, because I was I was used to seeing a bunch of those games where it's especially where that was considered this being a game where that is considered where you think going in, because there's all these little mini games for kind of style things for handling the different disasters. You would think that would just be another little side kind of mini game, but it does feel like a fully featured arcade game on the Wii, but then with all this other stuff that you go around and do as well. And they're not just completely scripted on rails, rail shooter sequences. They definitely still are that, but I didn't expect the amount of control. I expected something a little more on rails than it was in some ways.
Yeah, it definitely, when we'll get into this some more when we actually talk about the gameplay, it definitely gave me vibes of like House of the Dead Overkill in some ways. And I think that game actually came out after Disaster, if I'm not mistaken.
I'm not
Because I remember
sure,
that
actually.
I looked up a lot of stuff for this episode. I didn't look that up.
Yeah, I remember playing that on the Wii with my brother, but I don't remember when that came out originally.
It's like I want to say that was 2009.
I mean,
but
I could
February
find out.
10th, 2009.
2009. Yep.
Okay, so yeah, it did come out
Same.
after. Yeah, and we'll talk about some of those similarities when we actually get to the gameplay. But let's start off by like just looking. Let's bring ourselves back to 2006, that era, right? Did any of us like hear about this game? Do you guys remember hearing about it back then, or like how did you guys find out about it?
Honestly, Nintendo Power.
Nintendo Power. Nice.
Yeah, it was still around. I was getting it. I got it up until its death. And that was a game I remember reading about. I think that is the first place I saw it.
Yeah, I must have seen it online at some point because I remember hearing about it, but yeah, I was just blown or caught off guard because like, what? Monolith Soft not making an RPG? What is this?
Well, I also think that like I think I definitely saw it on Nintendo Power, but I'm pretty sure by that time I got into like this phase, especially like as I was getting into college, where I just kind of got weirdly obsessed with reading like game reviews on the internet, and I had a few sites that I'd just like browse every freaking day for like news and just reviews and just whatever. And I would have like a lot of fun reading those, and I probably read something about this on Games Radar because that was like my main one of choice back then.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I probably saw some about it there. But I remember like I feel like Nintendo Power definitely like introduced me more so to like that world of like games journalism where I got into it because I didn't, whenever I was a teen and I got it, I was like, at first I didn't realize how funny some of those writers could be, and then like that magazine kind of introduced me to like, oh, these guys are actually pretty funny, and like, so yeah, I was definitely keeping up with a lot back in this era of games as far as like that kind of stuff goes, like coverage.
Yeah, I feel like I may have heard some rumblings of it. I definitely saw a couple articles here and there that like mentioned Disaster, but I'm not sure if I really thought too much of it at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I kind of forgot about the game until Monolith did that that one 20th anniversary art where Raymond's actually there, and I've never seen it because like he's drawn in kind of a different style than everybody else. I'm like, wait, who dat? And then I realized like, oh, this is Disaster Day of Chris. I was like, oh yeah, that game.
Monolith Soft
Right.
remembered.
I remember like the key art for it whenever it was first revealed, and I was like, I don't know if that's for me, but that looks kind of cool. Like there was something about like the art style to it, and I was like, oh, the idea of playing a game where you're trying to kind of like make it through like you're basically fighting Mother Nature, trying to just survive. I was like, that was still kind of more of a novel kind of feeling thing back then, and also we were kind of coming out of like that weird kind of like DS era of like there was every once in a while like a survival-ish game on DS where they would throw in like a bunch of mini games like rub the stylus on the screen to start a fire and like blow into the mic and just stuff like that, and just the idea for like games built around like little things like that still felt it was kind of starting to wear out by that point for sure, but it still felt a little novel if they spun it a certain way, and like seeing as we didn't start really getting a lot of Disaster Reports games here that much, or like I think there was like the first one came out here or something like that, or first or second, but it was like kind of panned, and there was a bunch that we skipped here in the States because because
it's also interesting because, like,
it felt different. It felt different, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah,
sorry.
And I almost feel like this game was partially born out of just kind of like the popularity of disaster movies from the 2000s.
Oh
like
my
we had a
gosh.
whole bunch.
Yep.
Like
Well,
Day
we were
After
coming up on
Tomorrow,
2012.
for instance. Yeah.
And it was like the Aztec calendar thing, and there was like tons of movies just like the world is gonna end.
Yeah, there were a lot of American films at the time that were disaster films. Like the U.S. is getting destroyed and people are trying to survive it. Like y'all remember Cloverfield?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Or like I said, Day After Tomorrow's another big one. I remember Poseidon's another one. Like
I forgot about
wasn't there even like a scary movie parody of it too? I think.
I'm sure. Oh, there was
Or did I like dream that?
I don't I see that at that point they were doing like these weird ones where it was like a mixture of like multiple genres. So like Epic Movie I think might have covered that, but also been like a superhero movie parody, which is kind of weird to think that was a superhero movie parody that far back because that was after Spider-Man, so like they had popped off a bit, but it wasn't like when they really popped off, like it was a little before that even. I don't remember if it was, and also by then I was like, these movies are kind of shit now anyway. And it stunk. Like I could smell it from without seeing it, and just like I don't think I need to see that. But it was one of those. I don't know if there was one actually called Disaster Movie. I mean, I guess I could look it up, but.
But yeah, like we were getting quite a few movies like that in the States, and people were definitely like it was definitely a bit of a trend at the time. But like back on Disaster itself, we had quite the team on the game. Like the director was Keiichi Ono, who would be an event planner for Xenosaga and was one of the lead battle system designers for Xenoblade X. And of course also worked on Zelda Skyward Sword. You had Azusa Tajima, who worked on Super Princess Peach, Fossil Fighters, and Style Savvy. Genki Yokota, who also worked on Xenoblade X, Xenoblade 2 Torna, 3, Fire Emblem 3 Houses. Was also producer on Bayonetta 3, supervisor for Tokyo Mirage Sessions, and a co-producer on Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition. As a producer, we had Tadashi Nomura, who worked on Bots and Kaitos, was a general producer for Xenoblade Chronicles and Xenoblade Chronicles X. We're getting a lot of Xenoblade Chronicles X people on here, which it shows. I mean, Xenoblade Chronicles, Xenoblade Chronicles X, like, it almost feels like it almost low-key feels like a sequel to this in some ways. But Hitoshi Yamagami, Xenoblade Chronicles 2, Kirby Star Allies, Sushi Strikers, Pokemon Let's Go, Astral Chain. And the composer, we have Yoshihiro Ike, who worked on Crimson Sieve. I don't know if any of you guys have ever played that game. That was
but I think
that's a relatively obscure like action RPG. It was like a sci-fi action RPG. I think like one of them was on the PS2 and then the other one was on Xbox. And they also worked on Romance of the Three Kingdoms 10 and 11, which is interesting. Now, a thing that I found pretty fascinating about like the voice actors is that quite a few of the voice actors in this game also were in Devil May Cry. So like, many of the antagonists actually. So Reuben Langdon, y'all know him as Dante. He plays Major Evans. Yep. We also got Virgil's voice actor, Daniel Southworth, who voiced Gordon Banks. That it was by Adam D. Clark, who played Jester and Arkham in Devil May Cry 3. Colonel Haynes, voiced by Kyle Herbert, who did a couple folks in Devil May Cry 4. And Reuben Langdon founded his motion cap company, Just Cause, who actually did the motion capture for this game as well.
Is that the same Kyle? Is that the same one that's like Vegeta?
Is he Vegeta? Maybe.
I thought that was
or am I getting it mixed up?
He's someone in DBZ, but I don't think Vegeta. I think that's... gosh.
I'm just gonna look it up because I don't.
Yeah, go for it.
Oh wow, it's Cassius Bright. I didn't realize he was him too.
Yeah, and there are also a couple.
Son Gohan. My bad.
Oh, he's Son Gohan.
I guess, yeah. Okay, that was not the one I was thinking. He was also Kamina. Okay.
I mean, if you guys listening want to see us cover Dragon Ball Z Attack of the Saiyans, we could do that.
Could be part of the series.
Yeah.
We gotta play it first.
You want to hear us talk about Dragon Ball, we could do that. So we got some Xeno voice actors in this as well. So Iris, a little girl that you meet quite a ways into the game. She's voiced by Karen Strassman, who played Murderess in Xenoblade X. The President's Aide was also voiced by Mary Elizabeth McGlynn, who played Doctus in Xenosaga Episode 3. And that's also an option for... yes, basically. And is also a potential voice in Xenoblade Chronicles X. And the intercom voice, per IMDb at least, is by Yuri Lowenthal, who voiced Kevin in Xenosaga Episode 3.
And I could have sworn I heard Kirk Thornton, but it's not listed anywhere. He was the mayor in this game. That he was like Captain Matthews in Xenosaga, but
there's like a few voice actors I've come across over the years that actually sound a good bit like Kirk Thornton too. So like I've heard some guys in like some dubs of anime and some games that I was like, I swear that's Kirk Thornton, and it like wasn't, but that's very rare. Like most of the time it was, but yeah. Sorry, I just like that.
No,
came
that's
to mind.
Perfectly fine. Yeah. I wonder if I can actually load the credits.
Yeah, I was gonna say, did the
then I
credits
can check that.
actually?
I don't remember if the credits actually listed that. Let's see.
I mean, they should. But
I mean, I guess it depends around that time because I know Xenosaga 1 didn't list the voice actors.
Can I not access the credits from the main menu? I feel like they would let me do that. Yes, I do have the game on the side, by the way.
That's
just,
fine.
Like,
honestly, for the video version, having gameplay up isn't bad. Just saying.
Oh wait, here we go. Staff credits. Yeah. Let's let that roll for a second. I can let that roll for a sec, and then let's see. You said that was the mayor, right?
I believe so, but I could be mistaken.
Mm-hmm. So let's see when we get to these voice actors. Yeah, we're gonna hear this in real time as I'm looking at this. I should have looked at some of these programmers too, because I'm curious if they like worked on other games. It'd be really interesting if like some of these guys also worked on House of the Dead, but I don't know if that was the case.
That would be an interesting development.
Yeah, no kidding.
I need to take like that. They need to take the shooter part of this and remake Pied Piper with it. you play as on Sour, and you got like you're doing his cop work, and you just do that. Yeah, it's a great idea.
It is. But yeah, this is Monolith Soft's first game for the Nintendo Wii, which is kind of crazy to me because that's right. Ines actually worked on this as well, which I remember mentioning that when I first saw this, I was like pretty blown away by that. They would also do the Elite Beat Agents games, and they all went down there. So it's interesting that some of those folks were on this as well.
Translating their ocean-y stuff to that. If you think about it, Elite Beat Agents was like a rhythm shooter. Because you poked the screen with your ray. I mean, you also poked the screen for Kid Icarus. I'm joking.
That's really funny. But yeah, this is their first Wii game, which is kind of crazy considering that like the Wii is also 20 years old as of this year, which is wild. Yeah.
Yeah.
All of our backs are hurting.
Raymond Bryce is old enough to get his tribal tattoo removed now.
Yeah. He just like he does have that, like, it looks like the Game Boy SP decal, which is really funny.
Was it did you I'm sorry, I apologize if I'm getting ahead because I didn't see. Was there any word on like maybe like the key artist at all for this game? Because there's some of the art, like some of like the concept art of this game that I see that kind of reminds me just like a little bit of like the art style from like the Another Code or Hotel Dusk series a little bit. Just vaguely. Maybe it's just me the way I'm looking at the picture.
I see it.
But I just like wonder the way they like the faces are drawn and like the really moody atmosphere and like you know in some cases like that grayscale even a little bit on some of those like I'm like yeah that kind of reminds me of that
Oh,
style.
Reuben Langdon actually just showed up as a producer for like his company there.
Oh, cool. I'm glad that this describes it as a gym and not just like oh it was some weird
Here we go.
like whatever Wii minigame title or something. I'm glad that this one article is like yeah this is a gym. Like
Wow, that is a small cast. Okay, but I just like took a bunch of pictures, so now I can like actually like read them off. So cast: Ray, Mike Wilson, Gordon Banks, Lisa Harris, President Lewis, Adam D. Clark. Yeah, I don't think we. Yeah, I don't think he's in here.
Okay.
At least they're not listed. They only have a handful of people listed here, so. But anyways, we can get into like some of the history behind this game because yeah, there's actually quite a bit to talk about with this and how this game kind of came to be. So apparently, this was a game that was being worked on not too long after Baten Kaito's Origins, and they were trying to work on a new game for Nintendo's upcoming new console. Some of you guys that are our age probably remember when it was called the Revolution and not the Wii.
Oh my gosh.
what are you talking,
Yeah, you remember those days?
What
The Nintendo Revolution.
Revolution. You were talking about the NX, man?
Yeah, those are the days. Yeah, the Nintendo NX guys is gonna be so
Nintendo
cool.
NX, yeah. No, I remember. Oh my gosh, one of the most. Speaking of Nintendo Power Game, one of the most like iconic, like fucking covers to Nintendo Power for me growing up was the reveal of what the Revolution was, and it was just a picture of like a hand holding like the Wiimote, and I think that was like the issue where they were like made the reveal of what they were actually calling the name of the console or something like that in the magazine, at least not the. I mean, because obviously E3 had happened at that point,
Right?
but I think it said something like "We came, we conquered" or something, but they used WII, you know. I was like, yeah, it was it. You know, that was exciting times for a Nintendo fan, in a way. And then it came out, and people were like freaking out about it at first, and then like oh, you know how it went over the years, where it kind of like petered out. Unless of course you were like 5 years old, and it was probably still to this day the best thing ever. You know, and honestly, the system was great, but there was also you got to remember there was a lot of shit on that system as well, and that was not necessarily the fault of like Nintendo or a bunch of other publishers that were making good games for it. But it got
So the thing with this game, according to the Matt McMuscle's video, they were trying to make a game that would just offer a new experience, but they allegedly didn't have Wii dev kits yet. But they obviously had like the GameCube one, so this game they started using what they had basically, and it sounds like they were potentially using their GameCube dev kits to make this game at first. And so like earlier, according to both Matt McMuscles and also another report that I saw, apparently earlier builds of this game actually mostly just use a classic controller. So like during one of the initial reveals, they basically showed a classic controller for this. But of course, as Monolith found out what the Wii was. Honestly, as we all found out what the Wii was, we saw what the Wiimote looked like. Concerns started to come up that this isn't taking advantage of the controller enough. This isn't really providing an experience that falls in line with what the experience Nintendo wants to give us on a Wii. So they had to kind of rethink the game and rework it in some ways. Like, right down to the way you're rescuing people. Like, when you rescue people in this game, you often have to do all these little things. It's almost like little mini games. Like maybe you have to tend to their wounds, for instance, or you have to like reach your hand out so that you can grab them and stuff like that. So, or there's that one time where I had to rescue the dog and I had to run all the way over to that one dog and grab them, then run back. Like you have to like shake the Wiimote to do that. So like this game initially was just kind of built with the idea that you could just walk up to somebody, press a button, and then you rescue them, and then that's the end of it. And that wasn't necessarily seen as a compelling gameplay loop, right? You just walk up to someone, press A, and then that's the end of it. I'm sure some people today would be like, "Oh no, that's peak," but like the mentality was they needed to do something that really felt like it was unique to the Wii. And according to this article that I found on May 9th, 2006, Nintendo held the Revolution Day during their pre-E3 press conference, where Disaster was one of the new franchises that they were showing. And Reggie had set up a non-interactive demo asking the audience, "What do you do when the enemy is Mother Nature?" And the game was set to feature cutting-edge graphics and gripping visuals to recreate the sheer terror of major catastrophes. So I guess, this game has a big emphasis on natural disasters to kind of just show that, okay, here is, the enemy isn't just like mankind, it's Mother Nature itself. So like, how do you deal with that, right? Mm-hmm. And of course, it's also just kind of interesting that like Monolith Soft, there's also confusion among them that these are people who typically work on RPGs, so they're not necessarily experienced with doing action games, so they're kind of just having to figure out how to work that. And president of Monolith, Hirohide Sugita, had an interview with IGN on September 28th, same year, where he mentioned that development of the game was reaching its climax. So they were claiming that the game was actually, I guess, implying the game was almost done. And he also said that they were asked that, like, what motivated him to work on a non-RPG project, which he said, "I think it is because our company started with RPGs, but we are always examining various ideas and various possibilities. Disaster is one of them. But it does not mean that we have changed direction. We are also developing an RPG game separately." I wonder what game that was. "Please wait for detailed information about Disaster to be disclosed in the future." And he made a comment that he believed that Nintendo is trying to create new projects and trying to open up new markets, and that Disaster falls within that vision. So, that is true. At the time, Nintendo was trying to expand their market. That was kind of the whole point of the Wii, with the idea that anybody can play video games. And at that time, that was kind of 2006 was kind of like a big pivotal like era for video games, where we got into casuals, for lack of a better term. We really video games start being seen as like a hardcore hobby, right? It was something that like everybody could play, like everybody could find them interesting, everybody could pick them up, play them, find something that they can enjoy. And now on September 13th, 2006, remember, this is actually before the Wii came out, by the way, that these interviews are coming out. The Wii had not been released yet. A couple months before the Wii release, Nintendo held a Wii preview event in Japan showcasing a variety of titles that will be releasing for the console. Nintendo would also announce a number of additional games that will not be released for the console's launch, and unfortunately Disaster was one of those games that was not going to make the launch window, and instead they had it set for a 2007 launch. But news for the game was actually pretty scarce. I remember there was a French website that I was looking at that mentioned that like they just weren't finding any news on it. Like there was one of the comments was even saying, "Dang, there's like no news for this game." So at E3 2007, Nintendo America marketing director Beth, I am gonna butcher her name, but Llewellyn, I don't know how to say it, but we're just gonna say Beth confirmed that the game was still in development in an interview with Engadget. And Joystick mentioned that they got what they called their first screenshot of the game on February 22nd, 2007. Note that the screenshots are the same as the trailer that they showed at E3. This is them getting like screenshots because, that's what they used to do back then. They don't do that as much anymore. You don't like really get like companies sending just like one or two screenshots through to outlets like they used to. Like back in the day, you would totally see like IGN or GameStop be like, "Oh yeah, we got like 2 screenshots of like this game," and then that'll be like a whole article.
Yeah.
Yep.
But yeah, so the French site Jeux Vidéo, they claim that they got screenshots on October 10th, 2007. So they got some. So yeah, screenshots of this game were pretty spread out. these outlets weren't necessarily getting them. They were just Monolith were just very and Nintendo were very slowly revealing this game.
Yeah, I think I remember in the reveal I saw in Nintendo Power, they had literally one image, and it might have even been one of like those pages of like, hey, here's a bunch of upcoming games that, we've heard about that aren't like as high profile as like our cover stories, and it would just be like a page with, you'd get like one block that was an image and a little like paragraph block of text under it. And I think that might have been where it was. I do remember at one point reading one where I think it got like a little bit bigger thing where they had like a bigger picture of the art and like a little bit more to say, but I feel like a lot of that was just repeat on like, oh yeah, we saw a little bit more of this again. There wasn't a whole lot more than the last time, but we reiterate on what it's about and that kind of stuff. A lot of times you would get those previews where they just kind of like go over what the premise is, and we saw a snippet of gameplay or something like that. And that happened a lot, and you just kind of got used to that with magazines. And you'd wait several more months and not hear anything else about the game for a lot of time, but didn't matter because you were flooded with all these other games.
Yeah, and like I feel like nowadays we don't get a lot of games don't go by their code names for very long. Whereas like back then you'd hear like a game title and then that would be it for like a long time.
That's right.
Sometimes those games would just get canceled, like whatever happened to Project Hammer. Or Cosmic Walker, if you guys remember those games.
I think I do. I don't know about Cosmic Walker, but Nintendo Power actually talked about Project Hammer fairly often. They were like very interested, and I recall them bringing it up several times, but I do think I recall them even bringing it up later and being like, yeah, we're not hearing much on this game. We're not sure what's going on with it, kind of thing. Like, we kind of hope it continues, but like, yeah, that felt like one that they were genuinely excited about and kept reporting on, even when there wasn't really a lot more to report. I think I did hear something later about it, like something with its like involving its cancellation and like what kind of like vaguely happened with it. But it's been so long that I don't know, and I also clearly didn't get the full story on it. I wonder if somebody did, though. That might be something to look into, now that you mention it.
But yeah, we're in 2007. They did mention that the game was targeting a 2007 release, and it didn't come out in 2007. So we're going to skip ahead to 2008, where Famitsu would actually, in April, they would report that Disaster has a new release date for July 3rd. And a lot of people were like, oh, this game's actually going to come out. There was even a NeoGAF thread where somebody found a scan of like an ad for the game that showed the July 3rd release date. I actually have a picture of that in the doc. So it was targeting that release date, which, spoiler alert, that was not when it came out.
Dude, I found a Reddit thread from like 2015 about Project Hammer just now.
Did you really?
I really did, and it's like somebody at like a preview booth for the game holding a Wiimote in the picture.
Jeez.
And it says Project Hammer expose reveals torrid state of affairs at Nintendo Software Technology, and the comments are just people from 11 years ago saying, "Wow, Nintendo is too conservative. They should have let this game like exist." And I do remember talk about the game as like, oh, it's pretty dark for a Nintendo game, and in like screenshots it does look like a lot darker of a thing. Apparently there's an old Nintendo this is an old Nintendo Life article on it, actually. That's interesting. But I don't want to interrupt from I don't want to derail too much from Disaster. It just was funny that I found that because I was curious since you brought it up.
Yeah. But so all that happened in April. Now we're going to get to May, where we're getting new reports of the games. Various outlets such as Silicon Era and Kotaku are reporting that the game was actually delayed, so that Monolith has additional development time to improve the game. And that started to trigger a whole bunch of rumors. In fact, Joystick reported a rumor that somebody named QJ had their hands on a Japanese press release that mentioned that the game was on indefinite hold. So a lot of people started to think that the game might actually be canceled. And there are articles about those. People are asking themselves, is Disaster canceled? And it wouldn't be until August that we found a rating classification for Australia implying that, no, the game might still be coming. And also, when we get to September, we're starting to see, like, commercials for the game come out. And those commercials actually showcase some of the English voice acting. So people started saying, oh, dang, this game's going to be in English. So a lot of the English fans, especially in North America, were starting to speculate that maybe this game will come out in North America. Because, by the way, we're talking about, like, Japan and Australia. North America is not mentioned in this, even though we've had people from North America show it at North American events, even comment that the game is still in development. So Nintendo America was kind of involved in this, but they're not necessarily mentioning a North American release date in all of this. So that got people wondering what's going on. We're seeing that this game is in English, but there's no North American release date. On September 2nd, the European release date would get announced and would be set for October 24th. And on September 24th, somebody uploaded about 9 minutes of gameplay. By that point, the game had actually just released. No, actually, that was the day before the game released in Japan. The game would release in Japan on September 25th. So just before the game came out in Japan, 9 minutes of gameplay would actually make it on YouTube. And unfortunately, that video is no longer available. But there is an article from Go Nintendo that reports it existing. So, on November 27th, in an interview with Cube 3, Tadashi Nomura revealed that, end quote, the delay in development was not simply caused by one reason alone, but by a complicated matrix of them. Some of the members of Monolith Software took more time than expected to fully understand what the Wii hardware is all about, and the potential of just what it can do. On top of this, because no genre other than that of RPGs was familiar to us, development took longer to ensure the game's overall quality. As for the volume of the development team, it was actually slightly larger than that of the Baten Kaitos games. And Hitoshi Yamaguchi would also mention that, unfortunately, the game's sales figures shows that it's performing lower than expected, and it's because it wasn't doing super well in Japan. It only sold about 15,000 in its first week. And he says, it can be said that Disaster is more suitable for Westerners. So they were thinking that maybe the reason it didn't do super well in Japan was because that theming would do better in the US. And the reason for that, he would go on to say, is since they like to watch more panic action or disaster movies. Remember how we were talking about disaster movies being popular in the 2000s? There you go. And the game's atmosphere is more popular over there. But it's also a fascinating experience for Japanese people, as we also enjoy watching them. So regardless of the region, Disaster can be enjoyed by any consumer that loves disaster-style movies. Yamagami also noted that we actually already got a concept for a sequel in place. However, it can never be realized unless the original achieves a good sales result, and we receive many requests from as many customers as possible asking for a sequel. We're definitely looking forward to the request for that, so please let us know.
Oh no.
So yes, it only sold about 15K in the first week in Japan, and it failed to reach UK's top 40. So yeah, not good. And this also brings us to a certain thing that happened before that interview. That was in November. But another thing that happened, because while all this is going on, a lot of us in North America were wondering, where the hell is this game? Why aren't we getting this game? And Nintendo had already skipped over other games like Captain Rainbow, and we also weren't getting Fatal Frame 4. So people were starting to ask questions about that, right?
I thought so hard about trying to import Captain Rainbow back in the day, and even though I didn't know what it was at all, I was just like, whoa, a Nintendo game we didn't get. But yeah.
So now we're going to get to probably one of the most infamous parts of the Disaster story, and that is Reggie himself. So it is often cited by several outlets, even people who make videos. At almost any time this game is brought up, Disaster is known as the game that Reggie hated. The game that Reggie himself specifically didn't want to come out in North America. And he just didn't like the game. That's kind of been the story that everybody has run with. That originates from an IGN podcast. So on October 13th, 2008, if you go on archive.org, you can actually download this podcast as well and listen to it. About 25 minutes into that podcast, Matt Casamasina, I hope I'm saying his name right, but I think he's actually still with IGN. Mark Bozon, Craig Harrison, Damon Hatfield were all on this podcast, and Matt they were kind of answering a Q&A. Like, people had like a bunch of questions about like upcoming games, and they were also just kind of gushing about like upcoming games at the time, which was actually really fun to listen to. But somebody made a comment about like, oh, what's going on with like games like Disaster and Fatal Frame 4, and Matt mentioned that we hung out with Reggie, and basically he doesn't think Disaster is a $50 game, especially in terms of audio, which he said is laughable. He said he's going to watch it and see how it performs in Europe. If it does well, you'll probably get it in America. And if it's a bomb, you probably won't.
Honestly, from watching that playthrough, I don't feel like the audio quality in that game was any worse than anything else I played on Wii, just about.
So we're going to talk about the audio in a bit, because there's more to say about that.
Oh, I'm sure. That's just the thought.
So this is one podcast, right? And this is not something Reggie had said publicly. Mm-hmm. So, because I'd heard this story. Like, I've heard, oh, Reggie hates this game. He doesn't like this game. And I said to myself, like, did Reggie like ever say that publicly? So I was trying to find where he said this publicly. And to my surprise, he never actually did. That came from this one podcast where Matt made this offhand comment about this, right? Mm-hmm. And that didn't stop several outlets from taking that story. I have links to them in our Google Doc.
It's a lot. Basically
saying, oh yeah, Reggie hates this game, or Reggie doesn't want this game. He said so in this podcast. And what's also interesting is that some of those news outlets are even commenting that it's odd that Reggie would say that. Right?
Yeah.
But it's odd that Reggie would be so candid about it. He would be so blunt about it.
If he did actually hate it, it would make sense for him to like mention it behind the scenes, but maybe not to a journalist.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean,
so I'm not going to.
it did never come here, so I guess he didn't have to market it here. But still,
so,
like,
I'm not necessarily going to sit here and say that Matt was lying, right? But I am going to say, how crazy is it that all it took was for one person to make an offhand comment about what somebody else said for that to become the narrative for this game?
I mean, if you're doing journalism of this time, that kind of telephone game, I feel like was not uncommon for more obscure stuff.
Yeah. And I think the reason why it's stuck is because people like that story. Like, the idea that here's this game that supposedly Reggie hated, that is a fun story. And I think people want that.
It's a second Mother 3 situation.
Basically, right? But here's the thing. Reggie has commented on Mother 3 publicly.
Yeah, he has. Like, that was like part of the shtick, even for him.
So it's funny how he never, to my knowledge, he didn't comment on Disaster in that way. In fact, what he did do was, there was an interview with I think MTV Multiplayer. There was an interview where somebody did ask about Fatal Frame, and he basically just said, it is not on our announcement plan. That he apparently said publicly. But what the people on IGN said, that is the only place that has ever been reported on. And yet that has been what everyone has ran with. We're still seeing people run with this story. I think there's even like thumbnails where people like mention like Reggie when it comes to Disaster. So I don't know. I just think it's interesting that like that's all it took. All it took was that one podcast, that one bit from that one podcast for that to just become the narrative for this game.
Grasping at straws, I guess, you know.
Now, what I found just before recording this podcast was a blog by Reuben Langdon, and because the Matt McMuscles video actually cited a bit from this blog.
You know, also, before we move on to that real quick, I want to make one more comment on that whole, like, Reggie thing. I'm like, To be fair, I think what might have exacerbated that was Operation Rainfall. You know, like
I think
the idea that
Operation Rainfall, though.
Well, I know, but I mean, like, the story probably got exacerbated after the fact more because of that. You think? Like thinking about, oh, Reggie does like keeping all these RPGs for Wii from coming out here and stuff like that. Like, that was like part of the narrative there a little bit. I wonder if maybe like some sort of post-mortem like that embellished that whole story about, or made that whole story about him disliking Disaster even more believable, because it's like, well, he doesn't want Xenoblade Chronicles to come out in the States, so I mean, you know, like, that was that. Even if it wasn't like really completely true, you know,
yeah,
it could have been like a factor. Is just my thought process there. So yeah, no, that's all I had. I just was like, kind of like, you know, it makes even more sense that like after the fact, that story could have also been exacerbated, like, by that whole, like, thing.
Could have added more fuel to the fire, I guess.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, a year later, Reuben Langdon, on his blog, he actually wrote about Disaster in a post titled Disaster Day of Crisis, starring Reuben Langdon. And this is actually the first time I'm really reading it in full, because Matt McMuscles, in his video, he actually cites an excerpt from this, and that excerpt was also on Go Nintendo, but it led me to finding this, which I kind of had to use archive.org to read. A lot of the articles I'm citing for here, I had to use archive.org to actually access.
Yeah.
Alright, so let's take a look at this. So this first paragraph is interesting. It reads, "Many of you may have heard of it, but most of you probably have not played this title yet, which is a shame, cuz with spelled C-U-Z, by the way.
Oh,
because a lot of hard work went into making this gem. First, a quick heads up on the backstory. For the actual story, check out link to the wiki page. I want to tell you all about the blood, sweat, and tears that went into this bad boy. It all started way back before DMC4. I think early 2005? It seems like eons ago. Wait, that was eons ago. Interesting. So, 2005 might have been when they started recording with this. We were called in to help with the casting by Lynx Digiworks. They were in charge of the animation for the project. They are the same guys who did the cinematic action for DMC 3 and 4. Like DMC, they wanted to cast the motion capture and voice actors out of LA. We got our hands on the script and started the casting processes. We also started doing various motion capture tests in our Valencia training facility. Man, I miss that place. We played around with numerous disaster scenarios and what the motion would be like. Using wires, we tried to simulate stuff like getting swept up by a tidal wave, falling down collapsing buildings, and getting caught up in tornadoes. In addition, we also shot a video storyboard of the open sequence where the hero Ray loses his best friend Steve due to a sudden volcanic eruption during a rescue mission. In Disaster, I played the role of Evans, mocap and voice, the main sidekick to the leader of Storm. This is the first chance I got to play a bad guy. I mean, a real bad guy. By the way, notice how you said Storm instead of Surge. So we're going to get to that.
Yeah, and he said leader of Storm. You mean typo.
I know, yeah, Storm. Okay, I mean, a real bad guy. This is the first time he got to play a bad guy. That's interesting that was his first role as a villain. Had bit parts here and there in the past, but this is the first time I got to really embrace a villain role. It was a lot of fun, and after the whole experience, I realized that I really liked playing the bad guy. Maybe more than the hero. I'll explain why in a later blog post. I should try to track down that blog post. I also performed the mocap for Steve, the guy who dies at the beginning, sending Ray into his pitiful emo condition. Come on, man.
God. Come on.
Ray's not boyfriend died right in front of him. Why you gotta do him like that? Pitiful emo condition.
He's being a real bad guy.
Anyways,
It's
moving
part of the
on
act,
with
yeah.
this blog post. Still not sure if we will ever see this game stateside. I heard that one of the major reasons for the delays was that in the original game design, Monolith, game production company, was just going to use a standard controller in the middle of production. And in the middle of production, they decided to change the controls so the player would use the Wii remote. Also, after we finished the mocap and voiceover stuff, much later in the production, Nintendo bought out Monolith, and Nintendo of America decided that the dialogue, as is, wouldn't fly with American audiences. Bah! So almost a year later, the original cast was brought in to re-record a lot of their lines. Probably the most noticeable change was changing Storm to Surge. A lot of the other changes were pretty minor, just changing sentence structure and other stupid stuff. Not quite sure why they did it. The original sounded fine to me. Monolith wasn't happy with the rewrites either, and last I heard, there were actually gonna be 2 versions of the game. I think the Japanese really stuck with the original version, the one we created together with Monolith. Not sure about the European version, whether they went with the original or the Nintendo America rewrite version. Anyway, I do hope it does make it to the shelves, whichever version they decide to go with. Like I said, a lot of hard work went into making it. Just don't want our work to go to waste, damn it.
Dude, now we gotta track down another version. Now,
So
do you guys by chance have QuickTime Player still that works? No, I don't think these links work at all. That's a shame.
So, yeah, there are 2 English dubs, technically, with the same actors, same mocap company, and the Japanese version, they say Storm instead of Surge. The version I have is actually the French version, so this would be the European release. And they say Surge in that, so this is technically using the I guess what would have been the North American version. So, as far as I know, this is the only account that really mentions that that Nintendo of America demanded these changes. And I guess if Nintendo of America was involved in this, that kind of implies that they were really considering this game to come out here. But I don't know, maybe for some reason they didn't want that to happen. They didn't like the dub, I guess.
It just got that far, and they were just like, nah. Just
why? Yeah. Okay, let's do it again. Nah, never mind.
Nah, not interested. No. Dang, I really wish we could watch these motion capture test videos that he posted below, but
that would be cool.
I don't think there's a way to anymore. Like, I even tried clicking the
hard,
one,
yeah.
Because it was like QuickTime Player links, and tried clicking one, and it was like, this page doesn't exist anymore. I'm like, oh, that sucks. However, did you notice on this page that in the comments somebody linked to the old Flash website advertising the Disaster Day of Crisis game there? With little
cool.
Yeah, it's in the Wayback Machine. You could still play the little postmark videos. They're a little bigger than that, but it's a tiny ass video player. That's pretty cool. So that's on there. It's an archive.org if you want to see Nintendo's official Japanese Disaster Day of Crisis website with videos.
So
and the videos
to go into a little bit what the reception of this game was, because let's kind of let's entertain IGN's claims for a second. So we hung over Reggie, and he said that he doesn't think this is a $50 game, and we'll see how it performs in Europe. Spoiler alert: it didn't perform well in Europe. And they also made a comment that it says that he doesn't think it's a $50 game, doesn't think it's worth it. And for what it's worth, that was a common thing I saw in the reviews for this game, which mostly seem to hover around average to slightly above average. Some gave it a good score. Some gave it 8s. But it was average to above average seemed to be the consensus for this game around the time. Both from English-speaking websites and non-English-speaking websites. some of the main points of contention were its relatively short length, and also the driving sections. People were not too keen on those.
Dude, those driving sections were just like the freaking WarioWare Smooth Moves driving minigame. Like, they looked so close to it. And that was so good. I love that.
And I have seen other more modern YouTubers review this game, and they have listed the driving sections as a point of frustration. From my experience, I actually didn't hate the driving sections. I was able to get through them mostly fine. I know the last one did give me some grief, but even then, once I understood the layout and like what was coming, I was able to get through it after a few tries. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't think they were that bad. I think like one of the big things is understanding when to brake is a big one for sure. Not just to...
Steering did look pretty touchy, but like in a way that if you did brake enough, it would probably be fine.
Yeah, you gotta know how to brake, how to corner. I know the last mission in particular, the last driving mission in particular, was very big on that. Like, they had some pretty strict turns.
See, Justin, the problem is gamers don't know how to drive.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Yeah, because nobody can afford a car in these.
Well, now they don't. But back then, I mean, you know.
So there could have been something to Reggie looking at some of the reviews coming out and thinking that, like, yeah, maybe this just isn't worth it. This game's not selling especially well in Japan. It's not selling especially well in Europe. I mean, the GameSpot gave it a 5.5, and that review came out on December 1st, 2008. So
Reggie's quote, if Reggie had a quote, he was like, wait, gamers can't drive. They never leave their basements.
Yeah.
It was the time period.
And in the GameSpot review, you know, I'm looking at like their good and the bad. The good, they said, awesomely cheesy story. On-rail shooter sections are fun. The bad,
I'm so glad they were at least appreciating cheesy stories at that point, because it feels like a lot of times that was shat upon, even like back at that time.
Yeah,
with a few exceptions.
Under the bad, they said too easy, tries to do too much, driving sections can be frustrating, and lackluster graphics and sound.
That's the graphics and sound thing is kind of weird to me, but we'll get to that. I don't feel like that game looked that much worse than a lot of other Wii games I saw.
Yeah, I actually quite enjoy the way the game looks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it's got a style, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it also, like, I have a weird nostalgia for games doing stuff like that. Like, it almost gives me, like, a similar vibe to something like Binary Domain or something.
Nintendo Life, here's an excerpt for the Nintendo Life review where they talk about the driving section. Again, like, that seems to be the thing that most people complain about. In the driving sections, the Wiimote is held horizontally and treated much like a steering wheel, with acceleration and braking being controlled at the push of a button. These sections of the game are the standout moments. However, there are rare occasions where the car suffers from poor controls and won't handle like you'd expect.
I sometimes forget how long Nintendo Life has been around.
Mm-hmm. This review came out a little bit later. This one came out in 2009, but February 2009, so.
Yeah. You lovely people.
But yeah, this game, it's kind of wild how much of a history this game has, and it was honestly a lot of fun just doing research for this episode. I know it's a little bit different than our usual episodes where we kind of just like go off the cuff and rebel, whereas this one I'm like, all right, I'm going to read and take up a whole bunch of notes and kind of read off all the notes I took.
I'm glad you got a lot of good research on this, actually.
Yeah, you made an essay, and I'm proud of you.
New and groundbreaking. Never before heard of. Never before confirmed. Until now, confirmed that we can't confirm if Reggie actually said the things that we think he said, that we thought he said, that he thinks he thought. So, yeah.
I do. Yeah, it's cool. It was really cool to, like, go on these old websites. See, like, the old IGN layout was fun.
I kind of just love staring at this old Japanese Nintendo promotional site for Disaster on Wayback Machine. Yeah. It's pretty great.
I unfortunately haven't gotten my hands on a lot of the Japanese sources for this, so there's probably more I can uncover. But I figured I would just mostly stick with the stuff that I can read, so I went through English and French sites.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of where all that came from. So
I'm a
now
little
we
sad
can.
that there's a broken link on this site for a secret.
So now we actually talk about what the game is. I know we spent like an hour just rambling about like the game's release, but so let's talk about like the game itself. What the heck is Disaster? So, as you probably already know, you play as Raymond Bryce, a Gulf War Marine who is part of the International Rescue Team. And they were on and he was with his partner Steve Hewitt, and they were on a mission in South America at the volcano Mount Aguilas. And when that volcano erupted, Steve sacrificed himself to save Ray, giving him a compass to give to his sister Lisa. And that cutscene is very funny because the voice acting is campy as hell in this game. And honestly, even the intro is like great. Like I remember when I booted it up, I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be good."
Yeah, I mean,
when they're all like, "This is gonna be one hell of a day." It's like, yeah.
I was like, "Oh, cool! Justin's playing Metal War of Chaos." Oh, wait, that's not what this is.
Yeah,
honestly, this game's got like big Metal Wolf Chaos energy.
It's got some vibes.
Yeah,
Steve, Richard.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah, and then when you compare it to like the original lines to the lines in the version you had, you could definitely tell they spiced it up, give it a little bit more. I don't know how to say it, but
punch, I guess.
Yeah, they punched it up a bit, so it's it's fun. It's fun.
Yeah. So yeah, after Raymond gets the compass from his from Steve, Ray obviously leaves the International Rescue Team, and then he is recruited by the FBI to go investigate a terrorist organization known as Surge, formerly known as Storm in the Japanese version, who have kidnapped seismologist Dr. Davis and his assistant Lisa Hewitt, the same Lisa that was Steve's younger sister. And they know Ray has experience just doing all this stuff, and he's like, all right, Ray, you could do this. And Ray is like, he is in his emo mode, as Reuben so eloquently put it. Ray reluctantly accepts that mission, partially because he never gave the compass to Lisa. I don't know why he never gave the compass to Lisa. I guess he just couldn't bother to do it. He was just...
Whatever.
He was so grief-stricken by Steve dying. He's like, yeah, I can't face his sister. But
be the same.
Ray does accept that mission, and that's pretty much the game. You're going after Surge, and you're tracking them down.
Well, Lisa kind of also had like some negative feelings towards Ray, because didn't she kind of blame him for her brother's death a little bit?
Yeah, it was more like a little bit. Yeah, thought that was. Well, I guess she kind of did. Yeah.
Which that could have been part of it, but it was also probably because of his grief stricken.
But more than anything else, Ray is the kind of person who, honestly, if I could describe Ray, he is just a guy who just wants to help people. That's all he wants to do, and it's not because he wants a reward out of it. He's doing it because he thinks it's right, and.
Yeah.
It's one of those weird things where, like, Raymond is a shallow character, but it works. And it works really well. Right? Like, I don't know.
They also don't really give him, like, a lot of breathing room, to be fair.
No, but, they don't. Because of the way the game is paced. Like, this entire game supposedly happens in one day. So it's just... shit just constantly happening in this game. So he doesn't really have a moment to process like all the insanity around him. But
his cope is also, like a few quips here and there.
Right. But it also leads to him doing a lot of selfless acts where he's just going out of his way to save people and make sure people are okay. And that's actually a mechanic I really like about this game is when you get to save people, and then that kind of like comes back into play later on in the game, where some of those people actually do come back, and you can talk to them, and they express like how thankful they are for Raymond, and like he never really asks anything of them, and I think that's really cool. Like I don't know, there's something kind of nice about Ray. Like I said, he's a shallow character, but it works given the way this game is written.
This game needed heart to hearts.
Yeah, it absolutely needed. Let's see. He knows what to say. Yeah. So, Steve and I'm looking at the character profiles in the game itself. That's right. So Steve and Ray were friends since high school. Right. There was that one line where Steve was like, "Lisa will find out about that one time you and I." And then they like
never followed up. Yeah.
we never found out what those two did with each other.
She just said, "I know you threw lava on my brother."
High school.
It was your fault, Ray.
I know you ate sushi off his chest or something.
Yeah. Not now. Not now, Steve. I'm literally dying, dude. Let me mention it.
But yeah, it is actually kind of interesting because like Lisa, according to her profile, Lisa does know who Ray is because she has seen pictures of him. And that's why she's kind of like, "Oh, that's who you are," because like she's never actually seen him in person until I guess Ray came to rescue her. Lisa is 25, whereas Ray is 35.
Wow, that's I forgot he was actually that old, and I almost didn't expect it, but also didn't expect, like, dang, that is quite a gap there if they were trying to, like, really go for the vague romantic setup that it seemed like they were, but it also is like, they don't really ever commit to that either, so it was just like, okay, that's fine, I guess, you know. It feels like they commit more to him and Steve.
Yeah, and then we get the mayor of Blue Ridge City. Yeah, Blue Ridge City is kind of like the main city in the game, and it gets wrecked. Oh, it gets wrecked so bad. Because yeah, like so the way this game plays out is it's a multi-genre game. So you are either walking around or exploring, and then you will get into these gunfights with the people from Surge, where it plays kind of like Time Crisis. So you have a cover button, you gotta shoot them, you have to reload, and you can switch weapons. You actually can get a lot of different weapons in this game. I can run through those a little later. But yeah, like, and because this is Monolith, they are RPG developers, there are some RPG elements. You can actually upgrade your weapons, of course. You can even get some secret weapons, too, if you do some of the trials. And some of those trials are secret ones, too. You have to find, I forget his name, there's that one guy with the cane who's hidden in some levels. You can talk to him, and then you can unlock new trials in the shooting range. So you can unlock a whole bunch of different weapons. Let me look at my loadout real quick, because you can get... there's like 3 handguns, 3 level handguns, 3 level shotguns. There's the junk weapon, which I had not unlocked yet because the trial for that's really hard, actually. There's the pulse gun. There is the spark gun. That's a secret one. There is a Gatling gun you can unlock. There's a bow gun, an explosive bow gun. Also some rocket launchers. I did unlock the rocket launcher. That's a very fun one to use. The game also has a chaining system too, so for every time you hit an enemy and you don't miss, your chain goes up, and that'll give you additional points. There is a focus meter where you can press the C button, and that'll zoom in on an enemy, and you'll deal more damage. But of course, that can deplete your meter as well. There's a couple of meters that you gotta manage, like you have a stamina meter that is constantly going down, and you fill that by eating food. So, of course, throughout the levels, you can find giant burgers or meats, and then you can munch on them, and it's a very funny animation. You can also destroy random things in the environment to get those items too. After the gunfights, you can also walk around the areas that you're going through on rails, which is really awesome, actually. I really like that you can do that.
Yeah,
on occasion, you will have to rescue some people, and there's all sorts of different ways you can do that. You might have to drag people to safety. You might have to help them get somewhere, carry them. A whole bunch of different ways that can happen. And of course, midway through the game, we get the natural disasters, like the giant tornadoes or the tsunami. And those are always fun. Like, remember when we were on the bridge and I was driving away from that tsunami?
Yeah. I just want to say, like, there's something fun about, like, the whole aesthetic to me of, like, you being in a gunfight using these abandoned cars on a bridge for cover, or, like, these abandoned turnpikes, and you're just, like, going from car to car to, like, these big commercial, like, trucks and stuff, like, hiding behind those for cover. I just thought that was, like, those were just, like, fun bits, especially for, like, some of those boss fights. Where that, like, that one on the bridge, actually, it was, like, one that comes to mind. It was, like, that was pretty good. It's like,
there's... Let me see how many stages are. I want to say it was about 23 stages or something like that. So it's not like a super long game. You could definitely beat it in about 8 hours. I think that was my playthrough. It was like 7 or 8 hours. And there are a bunch of achievements you can get. There are 100 of them, and some of those achievements will unlock different outfits. I don't have all the outfits unlocked yet. And you can get the achievements by doing all sorts of different things. Like, there's achievements for not rescuing anybody, which is very funny.
Oh my god.
There's an achievement for... I think there's also an achievement if you do it again. There's achievements for beating bosses without taking a hit, which is actually a little bit easier than you think, because when you start the game again, you can actually carry over all your upgrades. And I started another playthrough, and I was actually able to beat the first boss in like 1 or 2 shots. It was very fast. I was like, "Oh, whoa, he's already down? What?"
You just picked up the missile launcher immediately and just...
Boss fights are interesting in this game because what will happen during a boss fight is that at certain points you'll see like a purple circle go around certain areas of their body, and if you shoot those, you can deal like bonus damage. And sometimes that's like you countering one of their attacks. And sometimes you have to kill bosses in like kind of a unique way. Like, there's one guy who had the bomb, where if you shot him, he would detonate the bomb as he fell. But like, you had to, what you had to do is you had to shoot something else that would... What was it? It was like you have to shoot something else that would shoot up in the air and then knock something over and hit him on the head or something. Like, you have to do some weird stuff for it. But like, yeah, you're fighting a lot of humans. You're also taking down helicopters as well. This game is actually crazy. Like, there's all sorts of moments where you're going to be running. There's one boss fight that's just straight up a bear.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, the bear boss is crazy. Oh, man. That poor bear, indeed. But I will say, when you play this game, definitely explore, because there's actually a lot of secrets. There's a bunch of like additional dialogue you can unlock with some of the characters. Like, I remember in the one level where we're walking around Iris's house, and then we found like all sorts of stuff in there. That's a very good one. And I think what I really liked about the game was I really liked the music. Especially the music that played during some of the calmer sections. Because, like, it really just kind of let you take it all in. Take in just all the crazy gunfights, all the destruction you witnessed. And I don't know, it really worked for me. The driving sections, I really enjoyed them. Even though there was one that was kind of bullshit because, like, you were driving down the volcano, and then, like, some of the rocks could hit your car, and that was, like, an instant kill. That was a bit annoying, but once I knew how to avoid them, it was fine. And I remember there was another instant kill later on where it was one. I think it was the final boss where he was running up to you, and if you didn't shoot him, and he would kill you. And I lost because I just so happened to be reloading when he was doing the attack. So that was just bad timing on my part.
Oh, yeah.
And of course, in like full Monolith fashion, there is a robot in this game.
Yeah, that was.
There's a
I was hoping for it, but I was like half joking, and I was like, "Oh, there's a robot."
Yeah, there is a robot right at the end of the game. And
Good job, everyone. We've done it.
there's also a great QTE fist fight right at the end.
Straight out MGS4 almost.
Oh, yeah, it was.
And there's also the bomb defusing sequence at the end too. That was also crazy.
Oh, yeah, you have to wait for the wire call.
Yeah, you gotta wait for it.
Yeah,
Oh,
that was a little stressful to watch.
Yeah, that. Oh, that was nuts.
Great.
There's also I know I'm trying to unlock the frog outfit, and to do that, you have to get through the Laharo section in like under 25 seconds. That's when Iris falls in the river, and you're like swimming to get her, and then you have to like point the Wiimote in the right spots. It's really hard, and I came so close. I came so close to getting it once. But I gotta keep at it, and then eventually I can do that. There is a rescue list as well. Every time you rescue somebody, they'll show up in here. But like, I kind of wish they had like profiles. They unfortunately don't. They just have the name of the person and like what you did to rescue them. So that's unfortunate. And then when you beat the game, there's a kind of a secret ending where the president gets like he gets told that there's a new threat and it's a giant meteor that's coming to crash down on Earth. So they enlist Ray to save the day, and you do that by shooting at it in space. I haven't beat that one yet. It's a lot harder than it sounds.
All in a day's work.
Yeah, you basically have to upgrade all your weapons and then just go crazy. And I haven't upgraded my weapons yet. I haven't upgraded them fully yet. But I was looking at Game FAQs because there's like one guide for this. And some of the other outfits seem kind of crazy. Like, there's apparently a robot outfit for Ray. There's a samurai outfit, too. So, like, I want to see what those look like.
Yeah, it'll be cool to see what the rest of those end up being.
Yeah. So, let's see. I kind of was just kind of freestyling it in the gameplay section because I know I had a bunch of notes in there. And I think, let's see. Yeah, there is a quote from who? Is that from Keisuke Ono? Yeah, not Keisuke. Keiichi Ono. Keiichi Ono said the multiple gameplay genres and approach was used because we intend to let players play with the various aspects of a disaster by using different actions and styles for specific situations. Yeah, which is true. I mean, like there's that one section where you were putting out fires in the train, and then you got that one fire extinguisher that was like a gun. That was cool. Also, the unique interface brought by the Wii Remote contributed considerably. Of course, third-person or standard adventure styles were among our main options, but our priority was to keep the pace high to mimic when real crises are coming in and out rapidly, just like in a disaster movie. As a result, we adopted these styles, but there were so many wonderful options other than those. We would like to see the possibility for them to come into play if we have a chance to develop the sequel. Yeah, about that. And yes, the driving sections, you do have to hold the Wii remote sideways. I forgot to mention that. So yeah, to drive a car to steer, you have to actually like steer the Wii remote, kind of like what you did in Mario Kart Wii. And then you use the 2 buttons to accelerate, 1 to brake. And then I think A was the handbrake, so you could drift a little bit. And you could flip your car over too. Like that can happen if you like crash into something. And you can also upgrade your character. Like I know you can upgrade like metabolism or your power. And also rescuing people can give you an extension to your stamina and I think your health as well. Yeah, I know you can get some upgrades from rescuing people. So yeah, like my general thoughts on the game as a whole. I think I said this on stream, but I consider Disaster to be a Wii game. Like it's definitely taking advantage of the Wiimote and nunchuck combo, and it could this is the kind of game that could have only been made in that era. It's just like I know it's very gimmicky. A lot of people look at it and say, "Oh, it's just like Waggle, like who cares?" But I don't know. I actually enjoy it because it feels like it's something that was made specifically with the Wii in mind.
Mhm.
And I don't know about you guys, but I kind of feel like we don't really get games that are made with the system in mind anymore. Like it kind of
Oh.
just feels like everything just kind of gets made for every console nowadays.
Yep.
So it's kind of refreshing when I play a game like this, where it's like, okay, I'm getting an experience that's specific to the Wii, and I like that. Oh, another comment from Ono, who mentioned that because I know someone had also said that this game would have benefited from a multiplayer mode, and I agree. I think this game could have definitely benefited from a two-player mode, but Ono actually commented on that and said, "Our decision was that multiplayer or Wi-Fi functionality would not be suitable for the theme of this title, so we decided to design it intensively for the single-player experience." So yeah, that's why there's no multiplayer mode or Wi-Fi or leaderboards, I guess.
Dang. Maybe if
Yeah,
Steve
dang
didn't,
indeed.
maybe if Steve didn't die, we'd have him as a second player.
Yeah. Speaking of Steve dying, I was like almost convinced he was going to come back in the end.
Yeah, I could have seen something like that happening, but
I figured they were going to do that. Like he was going to be leader of Surge or something.
yeah, I can see that.
And he wasn't. They kept him dead.
Nope.
I was like,
Yeah,
huh,
he was
interesting.
dead.
So I like that they did that. And oh yeah, another thing to note, I did mention like you get points and like leaderboards, right? But like there are ranks. So the game will rank you on how fast you were able to beat enemies and how many points you got. So you can get S ranks, and there are achievements tied to that as well. And yeah, the European version obviously supports different languages. This one supports 5 languages in one. What I found interesting is that this is a French copy, and then I modded my North American Wii, and then the game immediately went to English. I didn't have to change the language. So I thought that was kind of interesting. But it also says on the box that it's compatible with 60 hertz, and that it's HD TV compatible. I think that's also kind of neat.
It's not very common on Wii.
No, it was not. Yeah, like, and I think I had already mentioned that I went on a bit of a journey to find this in France, because it's like it's not an expensive game in Europe. I paid €6.99 for this, but it was hard to find this in France. I know I've told this story before. Like, I went to so many different game stores in Paris, and none of them had it. I had to go outside of Paris to find my copy. Very lucky that I was even able to find that. But even in other countries, it doesn't seem like this game is in high demand, I guess. Or maybe like people who own it just aren't selling it, and maybe that's why you can't like find it. But yeah, if you are looking for a copy of this game, you could probably find them online on like eBay. It's not going to cost you very much to get it, which is interesting because I feel like if this game came out in North America, this would probably be like one of those Wii games that would go up in price.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah,
I don't know if this
so.
game would have like sold especially well here, but I definitely feel like it would have a cult following. Like, what do y'all think? Do y'all think Reggie made the right decision to not release it here, allegedly?
Yeah, he was right. Fuck this game. No, I'm kidding. It was pretty great.
No, I think I would have I think I would have gotten it back in the day just to support Monolith Soft, and probably would have been weirded out at first, but playing it,
I probably would have been unable to afford it at first and just like prioritize something else over it, and then probably tried to find it later.
I feel like for me, this would have been a game I bought like pre-owned down the line. Like I would have found this for like $15 one day and then bought that.
Yeah, that's what I kind of feel like I would have done too. Especially because like I wasn't fully aware of like Monolith Soft's output at that point in time. Like there was a lot of stuff that I was just kind of like, oh, it's the same. Like I didn't realize it was the same the same dev that did this before. And the first one of those games that I really got was like the first Xenoblade Chronicles. It was like, that's really cool sounding.
Yeah, I probably would have gotten it day one.
Oh yeah, you were in the know already.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But at the same time, I also feel like this game might have turned some heads because, like, you guys got to remember, not like people on the podcast with me, but people listening, you guys got to remember that during the Wii era, a lot of people saw the Wii as a system that wasn't for the hardcore. People were really big into shooters at that time. That was like kind of like the peak of that. People were the gamers were hungry for the edgy, gritty games at the time, and that's what like the Xbox and the PS3 was delivering on. And the Wii didn't really have that, or at least people didn't see that out of the Wii. So I feel like a game like this would have gotten some attention just based on that. And also another thing that was common in the Wii era. You heard this phrase a lot, which was software drought. Everybody was saying that online. Everybody was talking about, oh my god, the Wii drought is real, y'all. There's no games for me to play on here. Why do you think it was called Operation Rainfall? Because it rained. Giving us games. But yeah, that was a common sentiment back then with the Wii, was that despite the fact that the Wii was selling incredibly well, it was like one of the best-selling systems. It's not. I think it might have even been the best-selling, or it was up there. One of the best-selling systems of all time. I think it still is.
It's one of them. One of them, yeah.
And has a massive game library, by the way, even by today's standards. People still had nothing to play on it.
If I'm thinking right, I think it still got outsold by like the 3DS. But
I can believe that.
And also, PlayStation also pulled out their hidden bullshit report again on repeat occasions of, oh, we actually have, we found that warehouse of PS2s in the back is actually empty. It looks like we sold this much more.
I love when those come out.
I do too. It's so funny because I'm like, I just look at him like, you know, you might not be, but you really sound like you're full of shit right now. you might not be making this up, but it's just like, interesting coincidence in timing. Did you perhaps like just pull this out of your ass? You can, you can say whatever.
They find a box. They run over to Walmart, just put it over to the like price scanner. Oh, it's sold.
Also, like, why is that a flex still? Like, they don't sell the PS2 anymore. Look at this, investors. This console we abandoned 25 years ago is still selling. Isn't that cool? Okay, but what about what you got on right now? Yeah, but look. Like, what are they doing? What are we doing, Sony?
Okay, so I'm looking on the best-selling game console of all time because I'm curious. So, PlayStation 2 is still at number 1.
Yeah. Of course.
The Wii is at number 7.
Oh. Yeah, I was going to say, I knew it was. I think it was, like, one of the best-selling home consoles, but those handhelds were doing some fucking numbers. Between the Game Boy, the Game Boy Advance DS, and 3DS, those were crazy sellers. Which, honestly, it's weird to think about how much more some of those sold, other than just, like, the times, like, catching up and, like, more kids having access to the handhelds and them being more available. But, like, think about how much longer the original Game Boy was out on the market than those. Like, it was out much longer.
So this is kind of an unrelated tangent. Only semi-related because, I mean, this month is the anniversary of this, but, like, think about, like, Pokemon, right?
Yeah.
How that is, like, that was, like, a killer app that came out almost 10 years after that hardware was released, right?
Yeah. The one after the first killer app, Tetris.
Yeah. So, like, you have crazy stuff like that happening. And, yeah, this month is Pokemon's anniversary, so... I think it's like their 30th anniversary is this month.
Yeah, 30 doesn't feel right, but yeah, I think that is 30 is including them going off of like original like the Pocket Monsters prototype stuff and everything, isn't it? Because like
I'm just going by the Japanese release of the original game.
Oh yeah, because it was 96. I forgot. Yeah, I guess it is. 30. Yeah, shit. It doesn't feel that way. It does not feel that way, but it is.
What a disaster!
Dang. Pokemon
what a disaster indeed.
Yeah, I was going to say that was very likely the tagline for that GameSpot review. It just writes itself. Disaster.
So, I'm on Game FAQs and I'm looking at all the titles / achievements in the game, and I'm going to read off a couple funny ones that I saw.
Oh boy.
Okay. You can get Failed Rescuer, where your rescue rate was 0%, And then you can get Failed Human as your title, where your rescue rate is 0% again. You have Killer. You can get Bear Killer if you beat the bear boss without taking damage. Let's see. Combo, Veteran, Shaky Shooter.
If there were real trolls, there would have been like Butterfingers at the scene with Steve at the start. Even though you can't control it, it's just that happens.
You get Chicken. Get called Chicken if you hide 50 times on one stage. Ragdoll. You reach 5,000 total damage.
If this game had came out back when I was a kid, there would have been some kid on the playground like, no, trust me, you can save Steve. There's a way to do it.
Phoenix. You cleared a stage but nearly died 5 times. Lucky 13. You nearly died 13 times. Caterpillar Man, if you don't jump in a stage. Grasshopper Man, if you jump more than 100 times in a stage.
Okay.
I mean, hold up. Wasn't Telos' affinity chart something like that, where you have to jump 100 times?
That might be true. I can't recall. You know what? We could probably look that up.
Yeah, someone look that up real quick while I continue to go through this. Walking on eggshells if you don't destroy any objects on the stage. Bull in a china shop. You destroyed more than 30 objects on the stage. God of Destruction. You destroyed more than 500 objects in total. Stamina's campaign. Oh, I didn't mention that actually. So the Stamina's campaign is something that you can do when you replay a level. And I think there's like 10 signs that you could find throughout the levels. And every time you find one of those signs, you pick them up, a voice on a radio will make like a funny sound, or he'll make like a funny comment. It'll be like, "You found your first stamina," and then like the more you get, like the crazier they get. Controlled breather. You match your breathing to the mayor's and rescue the man. Dr. Ray. You revived a person using heart massage and didn't fail once. Vow to Steve. You quickly rescued Lisa from the church. Directionless. You were so slow, it seemed you'd gone the wrong way.
Wow.
Am I looking at this right? For Telos, you have to jump.
I was like, I saw a GameFAQs talking about it, but I'm just looking through the Affinity chart now, actually, Jen.
Okay, just double check, because I'm on the Xenoblade wiki, and it says 6,000 times you have to jump?
That's what I read, too.
Okay.
But I think there might be another one where you jump a certain distance.
Yeah, because I remember the Telos chart where you have to jump a crap ton of times, so...
Because you get, apparently you get one for jumping off a cliff if you do.
Oh yeah, you fall from a high place.
I didn't remember.
See, y'all? This is where it started.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
and I mean, for what it's worth,
leaping.
Xenoblade 1, the first Xenoblade, also has an achievement system just like this, too. So,
the leaping one is fall from a high place, unit and PEDs, 305. But also the jump one does say it's a count of 6,000 jumps in total. To fall from a high place, such folly. You can leap from great heights, but you will never soar. That's her quote. And then the 6,000 jumps ones you'll never learn to fly by hopping like an idiot, right?
Let's see, you get Superhuman as a title if you increase all your skills to the limit. Savior of the Nation if you beat the game on normal. Savior of the World if you beat the game on hard. There's also an additional difficulty called True Disaster, which is even harder. And then you get Super Disaster Master. You got all the titles. Congratulations.
Yeah. Very nice.
But yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about this silly game.
I was trying to see if anybody had found any maybe if there was some kind of thread or something like that where somebody found a thing, or just old GameFAQs or something like that of that nature. See if there was anything where someone found a reference to Disaster in Xenoblade, but I'm not seeing anything.
So
there are definitely some monsters called this or a quest that's called Unnatural Disaster, and there's Disaster Vigilance from Xenoblade X and things like that, but like that's not none of that's clear stuff.
So the only like cameo that I know that like Ray made was in Smash. Ray is a spirit.
Oh yeah. That feels like a given.
Oh, what is this thread? Hold up. I want to give FAQs. I just found this. I found an interesting thread from 2009, from August 27, 2009, and it's titled Steve and Ray Subtext.
No, that can't be. That's wrong.
Let's read this. What was with that little exchange between them in the volcano stage? Ray says something like, "Do you really want me to tell Lisa about that time we..." He stops suddenly and abruptly ties his splint tight. Right before that moment, I was thinking, well, Steve sure calls him partner a lot. To which somebody delightfully responded to that by saying, "Raffle XD."
I got a shout on a note.
Oh wait!
Oh yeah,
hold up.
Go ahead.
Whoa! Somebody commented on here. The line was originally, "You think she wants to hear about the conference championships when I..." And then they posted a link to ReubenLangdon.com. Wait. Did I just discover something new? Hold up.
Possibly.
Hold on here. I can't open this. Okay, archive.
Yeah.
Oh
We're
man,
like
if Reuben Langdon like listens
live
to this
discovery
podcast,
on podcast.
He's gonna hate me for doing this right now.
I mean, hey, we didn't say anything bad about Reuben Langdon. I mean, if anything, he's kind of been a hero on this podcast for writing that little blog post he did. Hey, by the way, Mr. Langdon, if you do happen to catch this, could you like re-upload those mocap videos in like a player that we can see if you still have those?
What is this? Wait,
hold up. I mean, when you listen to this podcast.
Oh my goodness, yo! I think I just discovered something in real time.
Okay.
Wait, take a look at this. Disaster Cinematics video set.
I
think I found like the mocaps videos.
Mocap videos?
Yeah.
Format we can watch them. Oh, very nice.
Oh damn, we can actually watch this.
We'll do it live, and then we'll post it in the YouTube version of the podcast, I guess.
Listen, Ray. If I don't make it out of here, I want you to do something for me. Give this to my little sister. Tell her to protect her.
Hey, tell her yourself. Okay, you're not quitting on me that easy.
Just in case, Ray. Please. I'm all the family she's got left. If anything happens to me, I want you to look after her. I'll consider it a favor for having to listen to all those awful high school football stories.
Hey, all the more reason for you to get through this, right, buddy? You think she wants to hear about that time in the conference championships when I... Didn't think so. Listen, I'll give it back to you when we reach the foot of the mountain. Besides, what am I gonna do with the broken compass anyway? Your sister gave this to you, huh?
Yeah. She was still little when she did. It's been my good luck charm on all our rescue missions together. She's got all the good genes in the family. Smart, good looking. She's my pride and joy. Hey, don't get any ideas, lover boy. I said look after it, that's it, you got it? Hey, I think this is gonna be the big one.
Steve! God! Steve! Hang on, I'm gonna send down a rope! Hang on, Steve, it's coming down.
Look up there. Ray, you can't save me. You gotta let me go.
Like hell I will. I've already failed once today, and I'm not gonna lose you too.
Hell of a day, huh?
What?
Don't take it too hard, okay? It's not your fault.
Please, Steve, I can't.
It's over for me, partner. I told you, you can't save me.
Steve, please help. Oh, Steve, you can't do this. I won't let you.
Take care of her, Ray. She's my pride and joy.
Steve, no! Ah!
Holy shit, that's amazing.
So I guess these are some of the original lines, I guess.
Probably.
Yeah, I could like see them doing
Leon
that.
Kennedy? No, I'm kidding. He's got a haircut.
Okay, I won't play this as I'm like talking because I know my backup recording's gonna actually pick it up. But like,
Yeah, I was gonna say we could
put it in the video. Yeah,
edit it in.
yeah,
later,
that's cool. That's interesting.
that is
Man.
That is a cool find.
Since
That
my
is a
audio
sick
isn't going to
find.
pick up on my end, it's pretty good. It is very
There's
clearly
also-
not the voice actors, but or at least not the line deliveries.
Let's see what any other like. Is there any more gold I can find in here?
Dude, he actually gives him a ruler for a splint in this scene. Like he's actually doing a splint, but he's doing it with a ruler in this mocap. By the way,
Let's
this is,
see.
wild.
This thread over here says, any hope for a stateside release due to the overwhelming success of Xenoblade? When was this? This started in 2014. Now that Monolith Soft has made a name for themselves with Xenoblade being pretty successful in the States, and Shulk even landing himself a spot on the Smash 4 roster against all odds, could Nintendo possibly port this to the States finally? Perhaps on the Wii U? And somebody replied, I doubt it. As far as I know, it didn't sell very much, and only a few people know about the game. The reviews weren't very favorable, and even Reggie made fun of this game. See, once again, we're going back to that one IGN podcast.
Yep.
So it's unlikely. I like this game a lot, though. The story is kind of cheesy, but the gameplay is very fun. This game made Monolith Soft one of my favorite developers, and I wish more people could play it. Frowny face.
Yo, by the way, did we mention who the composer for this game was?
Yes.
Oh, we did. Okay, I knew you were talking about it. I just couldn't, for some reason, I blanked on that.
Yeah. The composer is Yoshihiro Ikai, as we mentioned.
Right.
He did Crimson Sea and also Romance. of the Three Kingdoms. All right, what else can I find in this game FAQs board? This game reminds me of Go-Go 13 top secret episode. That's actually pretty funny. It's interesting because I was thinking about this game reminded me of like some of those multi-genre NES games, but not that one. It was kind of reminding me of like I was thinking of like Vice Project Doom. But I get why they said
I kind of see that. I mean, I don't feel like I would put Vice Project Doom in exactly the same kind of game.
No, it's not.
Yeah, like,
it's absolutely not.
I get what you mean.
Let's see. Any similarities at all with Monolith Soft RPGs? And
Monolith Soft.
Monolith Soft. Wait, are there 13 pages of like FAQs for this game?
I hope that you like play. I hope when you're like unlocking stuff in this game later, Justin, you just like happen to unlock something that's like, oh, by the way, there's like extra gallery of behind the scenes No, I'm just kidding. I don't think that'll be in there, but that would be hilarious.
I wish.
We would have to do like a whole nother episode. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh no.
There was a part of me that was like hoping that there would be like some Xenosaga reference in this. Like, I don't know if there's like maybe be like a Zohar showing up or like, I don't know, someone mentioned Cosmos.
But yeah, I was kind of hoping there would be like a clear reference to it in like a later game or something like that too. But maybe we'll have to find that ourselves if it exists. Who knows?
Give Raymond a Cosmos t-shirt.
This one person says we didn't get it in America land for some reason. Is it like a slimmed down RE4 with lots of environmental hazards and occasional Wii Waggle mini games? And then this person says, this is really turning out to be one hell of a game. Epic music. It's way better than any RE game I've played.
Wow. I mean, like I'm not the biggest RE fan, but I mean that's definitely not a take I would expect.
Oh my god, this one post. So, since I'm in the US and got sick of waiting, no, I didn't import. That's outside of my means. I watched all the cutscenes on YouTube, and I gotta say, if nothing else, the game make a great movie. I loved it. I actually called that over half a year ago when those trailers showcasing some cutscenes were released. I said that even if the gameplay is terrible, I'd buy it solely as a movie. And while I didn't buy it, the general idea was right on. Anyway, Nintendo sucks. Go burn in a ditch. All that jazz.
Oh, I really after watching that YouTube documentary the other day, I really am just now lamenting the fact that this game never got an X-Play review because it never came out. Just like hear Adam Sessler like just talking some stupid shit about it. Like that would have been we would be like pulling that up right now and laughing our asses off about it if that were the case.
So this person made an interesting point where they said, is this game from the creators of Time Crisis? And they said there's a possibility that some people who worked on Disaster could have worked on the Time Crisis series. However, they're not from the same developer. Disaster is made by the now first-party Nintendo Monolith Soft, best known for Xenosaga and Kaitos, while still part of Namco. That's an interesting point because, like, I do wonder if there would have been some overlap there between, like, the merger, right?
Yeah.
That would require me to really dive deeper into the credits.
Yes.
And I have not done that for this.
Yeah. Well, I mean, definitely still a lot either way, but yeah. Maybe next time. Maybe we'll know next time. This game is like kind of fascinating, so
it is incredibly fascinating.
I lament that I have no real. I mean, I could probably find a means to play it in some way, I guess, maybe, but yeah, no.
Hold on, here's another thread. Disaster Dare Crisis 2. Someone says, what possible natural disasters could they use for this? Let's elaborate a storyline. If it's good enough, I'll make a Flash video and Newgrounds it or YouTube it.
Oh, okay.
And this one says, meteor showers, that'd be awesome. More crazy animals like the bear, maybe pack of wolves. Earthquakes will have to come back. If you want collapsing buildings, more intense driving stages.
Yeah, they need like they need more like driving stages where especially like if they were to ever make like a sequel to this, now they could just do a driving stage where like a building, like a skyscraper, collapses on the road. You have to drive on top of it. You fall through it part of the way through and have to drive, like go, like you're driving through an office. And it would just pull some like straight up fucking like Fast and the Furious 7 shit or something. With like car, you like ramp out of the top of the skyscraper into another skyscraper.
Or have a pilot an airplane through a hurricane.
And you know what else they should do if they ever made a sequel? They should be like, and it turns out this isn't any normal disaster, and introduce the kaiju.
I think a disaster game with kaiju would be kind of sick, actually.
It would like disaster cross rampage.
Oh my goodness! This other person is suggesting that they want better hand-to-hand gameplay, like Prince of Persia. Someone says I should make it a Flash game and use an older version of Ray, and probably Lisa too. I love that these people are being like, "Oh, I should make a Flash game out of this."
That's pretty great though.
That's so amazing.
I love that. I didn't realize there was so much just like random.
Yeah, there's actually like
circles of
there's
like people
13
who just
pages
love
of
this game.
discussion of this on Game FAQs.
That's wild.
That's awesome.
What?
That's
I guess I missed this.
I remember going
For
The
how
discoveries
awesome
never end. Was true. It's truly a day of crisis.
Yeah, it's like really weird how much lore there is for this game.
Yeah.
This is a disaster podcast now.
It really, really
Yeah.
is.
Disaster the miniseries.
A couple of people are asking, where can I find a Wii freeloader disc? You don't need to do that these days. Why such bad reviews?
All right, I think I
Yeah,
should stop
we can
going
we
through
can
that.
we can wrap it up here.
Yeah,
Yes.
because there's probably so many different
Yeah.
topics you could look at.
Hey, if we find a lot more on this game, we'll come back for another episode. No worries.
Yeah, we'll see.
But I think that's a pretty good amount for what,
Yeah,
It was a lot.
Yeah.
There was a lot of good
well,
information.
thank you
Yeah.
for your investigation, Justin. It was
No problem.
Very thorough. Very much appreciated.
Thank you for letting me have this. I know this has been
Hell
kind
yeah.
of a self-indulgent episode because I'm
Oh,
like,
no.
I like this. I want to talk about it.
Thank you for streaming it as well. I
Yes.
hope that
Yeah.
everyone who wanted to watch that gets to see it. I mean, the VODs are still up as of this time, but I don't know how much longer at the time, but we'll see.
And I'll also try to put some footage from his VODs in this video as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And remember, y'all, like, if you guys want to see us do more
It's a good
videos or more podcasts like this with some of
Mhm.
Monolith Soft's other games, I am very much open to doing that. So,
Samesies.
but I will say, if y'all say Namco X Capcom or Project X Cross Zone, we're gonna need time for that.
Yeah, you
Xbox.
definitely need a lot of time for those games.
Yeah.
But it could
Cross
still
Zone is
work.
definitely one I've wanted to play, but yeah.
Yeah, they're beefy games, but I would definitely be down
It's a
for it.
lot. It's a lot.
All right. All right. Well, thank you very much, and thank you for joining, and everybody for listening. Did you guys want to go around and share what we're up to, or not?
Yeah, we could do that. I mean, for me, I am playing Devil May Cry, continuing Tales of Destiny. The day where we're recording this is right before Valentine's Day, so I do intend on doing a Valentine's stream of some sort. So by the time this episode's out, that probably would have already happened. So yeah, that's that.
Oh, nice. Nick?
Well, I mean, it's all I can really talk about is the games I've been playing, of course, because But I have really not been. I've been kind of like stagnant on just a couple of games lately. I think even the last time we podcasted, I mentioned that I think that was the day that I started messing around with that new Arknights infield game or something like that.
Oh
And it
yeah,
was
yeah.
like-
I remember you mentioned.
yeah. Which I mean, I've still been playing a bit of that. I'm not going through it very fast. I'm just like here and there. I had been sick for so long, and I got like kind of addicted to Stardew Valley, and it's kind of weird because I had kind of not felt like playing a game like that in a long time, and I just randomly kind of got me and my brother both kind of got the itch, and we've still kind of been playing that a lot lately. and I also have been kind of getting into like, oh, this game is actually pretty easy to mod, and I like trying to mess with that stuff. So I've been like reading up and looking into that and like messing around with like some stuff that's already been made and things like that here and there. So yeah, like it's kind of been that, but just the other day, the new Suda51 game, Romeo's a Dead Man, came out, and I was planning to actually maybe boot that up tonight and mess with it. Also, I kind of want to try out Mugenics eventually, but you know, we'll get there. But that's what my stuff is lately for the most part as far as that stuff goes. Maybe I'll eventually get back to actually playing through a game. But hey, I had a good start of the year. Like I finished up 2 games from last year and like played through an entire other game, but they were kind of shorter, so that's cool.
Cool.
That's cool. Super Metroid, baby. Great game. Played through that. That was my first clear of the year.
Oh, nice.
But yeah. Yep. It was that, and I finished up I finished up the 3rd act of Silk Song at that time in January, and I also finished up Player Obscure. Well, I technically got a little bit more that I wanted to kind of do in Clair Obscur, but I've just not picked it up in a while. I've just not felt, like going back to it. But I did all the story, so,
Yeah,
it's just
basically what I did too.
Yeah, there was that extra stuff in the epilogue that you can kind of still do and such. And I was like, there's a few things I wouldn't mind going back to, but I just hadn't felt up to it. I got so sick for a while there that I just wanted a game that I didn't have to think too much about, and Stardew Valley just happened to be that. Which is funny because just the other day I found out, it's like the 10-year anniversary of that game. I'm like, whoa, this game's been out for 10 years. Insanity. Insanity. But yeah, maybe by the next time I'll have different stuff going on. There's a lot of stuff I want to play this year. There's a lot on my backlog. Like much older stuff.
I feel
I would really... Yeah, I mean...
Same.
I've been meaning to get to like the Metal Gear games for the Metal Gear Solid games for like a long time, because that was a big blind spot for me. And on a similar note of political intrigue, espionage-ish games, I have also been wanting to actually sit down and play through the original Deus Ex for a long time, and maybe that'll happen this year. I hope so. If I do the thing with Metal Gear Solid is I might actually stream those on Twitch, which
Nice.
I've not done that in a long time, but I feel like that's a series people, like at least my friends, would like to see me play through, and it's been a while. It'd be nice to jump back on the stream train for a little while.
I'd watch that.
Cool. Well, we'll see. Definitely something I'd like to do. So,
well, good luck.
Anyway. Thank you. That's kind of all I got. Other than I've also been working on some art in the background. There's some that's a long time coming. I'm aware. We're getting there.
Take your time. Okay. Other than for me, I guess I haven't really done any too different from last episode. We're still testing Xenokami. I have 4 testers now, and we're making a lot of progress, but I won't say any more than that because I don't want to promise anything I can't deliver. So that's been exciting, but otherwise I have been playing Metaphor, but I've kind of slowed down on it. I've also been just playing random games on my Steam Deck. I beat Magnum Lord the other day. It's a game.
I've seen you on that a lot lately, yeah.
It's a game.
It's a game? Okay.
I don't know why I mentioned it if I just say it's a game. I mean, I didn't hate it.
That sounds like a glowing recommendation. I like the art. It looked pretty cool.
Yeah, the art's good. I like the characters, at least some of them, and the gameplay, the battles were just very repetitive.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, some other games, but that's about it. Just random games here and there. All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening and for you guys for discussing, and have a good night.
Have a good night.
Take care, guys. Bye bye.